So in the 1970s NHL, the most underrated offensive team was the Pittsburgh Penguins of the mid-1970s. You had LaRouche, Jean Pronovo, Rick Kehoe, whole bunch of stars, and this guy who would have scored at least 300 or 400 goals in the NHL were it not for a bunch of injuries that really messed up the middle part of his career and probably ended his career prematurely. We're going to talk about the pride of Thorburn, Nova Scotia, the great Lowell MacDonald. Now, he played left wing, for the Red Wings, the Kings, and the Penguins, but had his greatest success with Pittsburgh. Now, he played hockey all the way from 1960 into the late 1970s. And he first came to major prominence, ladies and gentlemen, as an undrafted player who came out of the Hamilton Tiger Cubs and Red Wings program. The Red Wings had different affiliated players. He really had a beautiful 1962 season with 85 points in 50 regular season games and 24 points in the playoffs, including 17 goals. Now, 62 had his first cup of coffee with Detroit, with one game at the end of the season. Now, 62-63, he split time between the Detroit Red Wings and the Pittsburgh Hornets of the AHL. Now, remember, he had later played with the Penguins, and this ties in a little bit. Now, he played with Pittsburgh part of 2 seasons in the minors, honing their skills. The third season, he ended up in the Rochester, after his third season with Detroit and his last season with Pittsburgh in 65, he ended up in the Rochester program and the Tulsa Oilers of the CPHL, where in 66 he had 58 points, including 33 goals in 57 games. Now, with Tulsa in 67, he had 31 points in 33 games, but the injury problems that plagued him really started at the time and carried on into his expansion of his career. Now, when he finally broke into the NHL, he was kind of a late rookie in 1968. He scored 21 goals with the Kings in their first season, was a key actually in their playoff run with 7 points in 7 games. Now, 69, he did spend some time in Springfield, but played the majority of the season with LA with 14 goals in 58 contests. Now, here where the injury problem really occurred. Now, he missed the majority of 70-71 and the entire 1972 season due to a knee injury he suffered against his former team. And that was on October 21st, 1970. So it was rough enough that he lost literally almost a season and a half. Now, when he returned, he was in the Pittsburgh program. Now, he played a fine 4 seasons for Pittsburgh. Now, first season back, he had 34 goals. Then he had a career year, 82 points in 78 games in 1974. But 75, where Pittsburgh was starting to fly in the playoffs, he had 60 points in 71 games. Now, 76, another great season, 73 points in 69 games. But this is where the problems really crept in. On December 10th, 1975, he suffered a shoulder injury versus Detroit, and eventually led him to lose the majority of the 77 and 78 season. Although he had short spurts, it pretty well ended his career. So in the midst of his high-level career, he lost 4 seasons, and who knows what would have happened. He could have easily scored 300 or 400 goals. But still, in the playoffs, too, he was putting up some really impressive numbers. So we'll get into that in a second. 506 games, 390 points, 180 goals, and 30 playoff games, 22 points, including 11 goals. Now, his great career in the OHA led him to a first All-Star team selection, and because of his perseverance and his comeback, he was sort of like considered the best comeback player of the early 70s. Made the All-Star team that year and was the Bill Masterton Memorial Trophy winner. Now, the All-Star game in '74, he made that as well. But the idea about Toronto having his rights before he was claimed by LA, he was part of that big Andy Bathgate trade. We talked about it before in a Marcel Pronovo podcast. That big trade was him, Him, Eddie Joel, Larry Jeffrey, and Ut Erickson for Andy Batgate, Billy Harris, and Gary Jarrett. Now, Lowell MacDonald was a good prospect at the time, but a lot of people didn't think he was going to make the NHL. But I think they were looking for bodies. They knew we were going to lose players in the draft. And, I'm just saying, his time with Pittsburgh was good on the power play, good on the even strength. He would score the occasional shorthanded goal. And he was never a dirty player, ladies and gentlemen. He'd rarely take a penalty. Like in 506 career games, he was 92 minutes in penalties, which is 46 minor penalties. Never a dirty player. Very well respected, a jovial guy on the ice, good with the fans, good with the media. And, he, who knows what could have happened. Like, I don't know, we always say about the players Toronto let get away. He wasn't Lowell MacDonald with the Maple Leafs in the mid-1960s. If anything, he was just, a fifth-line player for Detroit. But when he was given an opportunity with Los Angeles, he found the scoring touch that he had 10 years before, or almost 10 years before in Hamilton. And for that, he is probably one of the greatest NHL players ever to come from Nova Scotia. And you should consider him down the road for any Hall of Fame you would be eligible for. He should be put in there because a very, very great underrated player. So that's the legend of Lowell MacDonald, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for listening. Give me a like, comment, or subscribe. Any comment or request is also well taken. And if you enjoyed the podcast, tell your friends. If you didn't like it, don't tell nobody. Have a good day. Bye.